Hello, everybody. Welcome to All Caps. I am your host, Isaac Anderson, author of A Song of Bones and the Garden Maze. I'm joined by my co-host, Tim McKay, the author of The Fall of Salvandrea, and our very special guest, first ever returning guest, is Mike Mollman, the author of The Haley Traveler, Becoming a Druid, and the upcoming Proxima Station. Welcome to the show, Mike. How are you doing?
I am doing well. I got a nice shiny dome for you. I'm here.
Perfect. That's all we
Bald,
ask.
ready to go, and clearly an absolute sucker for punishment. So
12 years
for coming back.
So, yeah.
Well, you do this enough with, you do this enough. I mean, you and Ro have to be the most active, chat show booktubers, whatever you guys want to call yourselves, that I know. So, we already know you punish yourself enough as it is with other authors. Might as well do it to yourself for a little bit. Change,
Might as well
turn the tables a little.
It is nice knowing that I don't have to prepare anything. I don't have to have questions ready. I'm just going to go with the flow. I'm like, this is what it's like. Wow.
You just have to actually know how to talk about your own stuff for a change.
Oh, God. Well, I'm sorry. That's not going to happen.
No.
What's going on? All Caps is going on. That's what's going on. Mike Mollman, I'm going to hit you with your first hard-hitting question.
Uh-oh.
If you could style your hair any way you wanted, what would you do?
So I've told people for the last 10 years that in my last week of work, I'm going to get hair weaves. I'm going to get dreadlocks, and they're going to be so long. I'm going to do them up into a top knot. I'm just going to have this flowering dreadlocks on top of my hair, like, Sideshow Bob. And I'm going to walk around for the last week of work, and that's what I'm going to do.
Wow.
Sounds good.
Although now if I did that, my tattoo that I'm going to get eventually, it'd be obscured. So
you'd have to have a little flap in the back so you can lift it up and show off the tattoo.
Well, you guys are still what, like 80-something, subscribers away. So there's still time. You could retire.
I thought you were saying he was 80-something years old.
You just have to retire before you hit 500, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
Well, the goal was it had to be 500 before the end of last year, so I'm free and clear.
So you're copping out. That's what I'm hearing.
So actually, they sent me to the biggest trade event for our industry this year, which I hadn't gone to in like 10 years. I'm like, well, if I'm going to do that, I probably can't get a tattoo on my noggin.
This is Worldcon?
No, it's I'm in personal care for my day job.
Oh, get you. Yeah.
It's Suppliers Day. It's in New York City. So yeah.
This is where Mike goes, and sorry, viewers, I need you to prepare yourself. I need you to brace yourself for the trauma of what you're about to see. But this is where Mike goes and demonstrates products in order for people to, in order for these companies to take them on. So like this right here, what a beauty, what an absolute keeper. Here we go.
As you can see, the lipstick works.
Beautiful shade of lipstick.
It goes on.
It does on. Things. It smudges well, minimal smudging.
That's my first lipstick. For 23 years, I avoided doing this, and then they're like, "Nope, you're the only one in the group. We need lipstick. You got to make it." So there you go.
What's the secret to making good lipstick then?
You got to get it to gel, but it still has to be able to pay out. Has to be willing. It has to come off.
Right.
This was actually a powder that you just rub on and it turns into lipstick when you. So I told him, he was like, "That's great. I don't know how you apply it except for with your finger, and I don't know that people want to do that, but it's a gimmick." So.
Tower shooter lipstick. What is tower shooter lipstick? I'm missing some kind of inside joke.
The other one I saw was someone posted a picture of the killer from Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
That was so funny.
Put the lotion in the basket.
I can see it. Yeah, if Mike hadn't become an author, this would be his hobby.
Well, I'll just tell you, for EL, he did put me in a story, and it's coming out, and apparently in chapter 1, I flay someone alive. So, be careful if EL says, "Do you want to be in my story?" Think about that long and hard.
Oh, volunteer. I volunteer. Derek asked, "How did you apply?" This is going to be great. Yeah, we're already off to a good start, boys.
Since you write sci-fi and you have like this background in like science and chemistry, how much of that comes into the stories? Like, do you come up with like The Martian, these like sciencey problems and sciencey
Yeah.
solutions? Do you approach it in a similar way when you do your stuff?
So when I wrote Haley Traveler, I was like, my two favorite books are The Martian and Leviathan Wakes.
Mm.
And I'm like, if I try to do anything in either of those time periods, it's just going to be a pale imitation of those. So I was like, let's go halfway in between the time, and then I can, I have a little wiggle room. But
Right.
I will tell you for Stranded and Alone, which is coming out probably in 4 months, I actually used chemistry. Was the big problem. They had to solve it using chemistry, and I talked to Poppy Alexander, who's a chemist, and to Laura Huey, who's a chemist. I'm like, I got to use chemistry. They used chemistry to solve the problem. I was so excited. They weren't nearly as excited as I was, but I'm like, the knowledge, I get to use it for something other than making lotions and shampoos
And lipstick.
and lipstick.
Yeah.
That's
Do you
fun.
ever you're gonna have a character you do something creative with lipstick?
No.
Don't close that door. You never know. You never know.
He might have to is lipstick like let's say if I put a Sharpie mark like a message on like the hull of a spaceship outside. What will last longer, the Sharpie or some lipstick, some high grade lipstick?
I don't know. With being that cold, it turns. I think it would discolor, and then you just have like ugly marks from like the lipstick would probably last longer though.
Interesting.
Now, funny enough, all the conversations I've heard that you've had, I don't think I've ever actually heard you say that Leviathan. Maybe it's just gone over me every time, but I did not realize Leviathan Wakes was one of your two favorite books. That's huge. I only read it for the first time, maybe I don't know, 3 years ago, and it really worked for me on some levels. I absolutely love some of the core premise. Kind of reminded me of some of the sci-fi. Reminded me of Andromeda Strain by Michael Crichton.
Yeah.
Some of that side, the alien technology resurrect. Anyways, well, we won't get into the story. Spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen. But yeah, that's actually really cool. Have you watched the Prime series?
I watched the first couple seasons. I'll tell you what I love about Leviathan Wakes is I love how they did so much detail setting up the societies and how and then they kept talking about the proto molecule. I'm like, no, you don't need that. My God,
you don't like that? Okay, never mind.
You can play 10 years with the politics, the way you got it set up with the Martians and the Belters. I'm like, oh my God, and like the proto molecule. Like, no. Does this have to be science fiction? Let's just the politics angle. I would have loved if they. And then I was like, okay, yeah, I guess you have to have it if you're going to do.
You guys had, J.L. Odom. I always mispronounce her last name, but
Jamie Odom. Yeah,
Jamie Odom on Bald and Balding just before this, and you guys were talking about accents and dialect, right, and language, and I actually thought of Leviathan Wakes in that because it's the Martians, I think, who have the really distinct, broken dialogue, and it's done very, very well. I hated it in the show. For what some people say they love it, I hated it. I loved it in the book. I thought here's someone who actually pulled it off. Not every author can pull off accents and broken. Anyways, it worked. Yeah, very, very.
And if you do that in your book, you'll have me. I'll immediately be singing to the heavens how great it is because it hooks me every time. I always think linguists. I'd be really interested, and then I look into it, and I'm like, I'm bored to tears, and I stop.
It's funny. Yeah, I've only attempted it with one character, so I need to do it more. But it is fun.
I edit it out.
Oh yeah,
I have characters do it all the time, and then it never makes it past the first draft.
That's funny. Now try reading that for your audiobook. That's weird.
Ooh, yeah, bad.
It was weird. I was scared. I knew the chapters were coming up as I was narrating my audiobook. I was like, oh no. And then I got there. You know what? I know how it's supposed to sound. I'm the darn author. I should. So it worked for me, but I thought I'm so glad I didn't pass this to a narrator. That would have been fun.
Well, EL beat me to the question. He's talking about Hail Mary. Mike, have you read Hail Mary? Also by the Martian Man?
I have not.
I liked that one a lot.
So I was told by a couple different people that it's basically The Martian retold in a different location, and I was like,
It is
I
very
really.
similar, yeah.
So I
Huh.
was like, I don't know, do I want to? But I mean, I've heard so many people say they love it, and I saw that it's going to be a movie now, so I will probably. I mean, I bought the audiobook. I'm very good at buying audiobooks.
Yeah.
Really good. I have like 1,300, I think. Don't ask me how many I've actually listened to. Um, but
Oh, did we lose? Is it just
We
me?
lost him for a second. You're
Okay.
still here.
Okay, we're
Mike is
still here, but
Mike is off in Martian land.
he's off listening to the audiobook right now as we speak. Sorry,
Yeah,
Mike, we
he ran
lost you.
off. Yeah,
I mean,
ran
that's as
off.
good as far as excuses go to just jump off, say screw these guys. I'm actually really excited for that movie. So
It
I need
looks fun. Yeah, it
I
looks
need
so.
to
The
yeah.
Martian was Mark Watney man was he was very competent.
Yeah.
This guy is in a similar situation where he has to science stuff to survive, but he's not an engineer like the other guy was.
Okay.
And so he solves different problems in different ways. And it's still it taps into that same problem solving fun vein that the Martian does.
Yeah. Oh, there goes Mike. I will check in our chat in the meantime to see if something comes up.
I don't remember how he solved the problem with the sun, but I
Hmm.
remember thinking it was very clever.
Okay. Oh,
So
that's
I'm looking forward to being surprised in the movie because I
from the
remember
trailer. I was expecting like an alien cop out. So I like
it
that
was
they're still
clever. It
okay.
was very
That's good to
clever.
hear. That's good to hear. Yeah, because I like the introduction of aliens to that kind of storytelling, but it can very easily just turn into, oh, the alien solves everything. So um yeah, and here's Nathan saying Reddit, yeah. Um science the shit out. This is my favorite line of the movie easily. I mean, there's a lot of great parts
Oh
the
yeah, oh yeah.
of the
They're both
Martian.
fantastic.
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm very yeah.
Oh yeah, Rocky in the book is like one of my favorite aliens ever written.
Fair.
He's a fantastic little alien.
Yeah, helper, not the cause of the crisis. Yeah, that's kind of what I figured from what I saw. But still, it's like again, hyper competent alien coming in to save the day was kind of my immediate thought. And I thought there's no way that's what's going to be here because that would be too easy. But uh, yeah,
I don't want to talk too much about it because there's so many fun ideas in that.
mm,
I like sci-fi when it has weird, fun ideas,
fair.
and
Yeah,
Hail Mary has them. Not as much as other ones that I really love, but it has enough of that itch to scratch for me.
I'm a sucker for both kinds. I want the problem solving, the put me in the world and then force you to make complex, difficult decisions and show that character agency and development and all that. And then I have to admit I do like the proto molecule stuff and the really twisty sci-fi elements in books like that. Um, yeah, but hey, Jay, uh, yeah, I mean it's tough. You can overdo it for sure, and that's something
Mhm.
I'm yeah wary of. You don't want to make that such an element that you forget about character development and a decent plot, a coherent plot, and clarity, and all that other good stuff. But I don't know. I like especially when I'm reading sci-fi thrillers. I need the plots. I need like those plot elements, those really fun, twisty
Yeah.
thinker.
For a sci-fi to really hit with me, you need to have a reason for it to be sci-fi.
Yeah, yeah. Otherwise, why not hang out here on Earth?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, we have a lot of people coming to the chat, and our
yeah.
guest
Look
is
at this.
gone.
I guess we should do this later more
We should.
often.
This is the
Howdy,
time
folks.
people come on.
I guess so. Yeah.
So yeah, so we were just interviewing Mike Mollman, the author of The Haley Traveler and Becoming a Druid, and the upcoming Proxima Station, which is about aliens and First Contact, I believe. If he comes back on, he can tell you for sure
Yeah.
because it's not out yet. No one's read it except for him and a few others, but I think that's the gist of it.
Let me. Yeah. No, I'm not seeing anything. So I got a message. So hopefully that's a good sign that maybe his internet was down. He's back. But uh, yeah, we'll hang around. Yeah. Let's flip. We'll wait. We'll wait for where's Mike? Yeah, Mike disappeared. Sorry, Britain.
Mike vanished.
Bad screw
So
off.
EL says Hail Mary's better than The Martian.
Hmm.
I don't know if Hail Mary has more sci-fi than The Martian does. The Martian is more of a techno thriller than a sci-fi. Hail Mary is definitely a sci-fi. Oh, and
Here
he's
we
our
go.
Proxima Station too.
Yeah, here we go. Let's throw it up in the meantime. And while we're doing that, I can get ahead of a now foreseen issue. Oh no, we're good. Yeah, I have to make sure. Yeah, so we had this before too with another chat. The size of our boxes on the side here during images. I have it. I thought I had it set at the size that would allow 3 of us on the screen, and I guess I got that wrong with the last one. So we're gonna have another 3 or 4 images where I'm gonna disappear repeatedly. It's gonna be great. But
That's okay,
yeah,
I
this is
think.
the final update for the Proxima Station cover, and it's looking awesome. This is gonna be fun.
Nice.
Yeah. So July 25th. This is coming out.
Coming pretty
It's
soon.
time to make more lipstick. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
priority.
he ran out of lipstick. He had to go do lipstick real quick.
You know what? Extra points if Mike had shown up with lipstick on. He didn't have it on
boy.
for the chat with Jamie Odom, but if he came here with lipstick, oh boy. I've already bought the book, but I would probably have to go buy another 3 just to support. Oh man.
Proxima Station has a lot more in common with Hail Mary, except for the hard science stuff, and it's more aliens.
And more
I
aliens,
like good aliens.
Yeah.
I like good, and it's more sitcom. That also attracts me too.
Yeah.
I like a good sci-fi that doesn't take itself seriously, but seriously enough to be sci-fi still.
Yeah. Well, like that's a whole extra challenge to do to add humor, you know, in a. Well, I mean, I haven't.
Well,
No,
when
there's obvious
when your
examples.
characters are good enough,
Mhm.
humor is natural. It
Yeah.
just happens because people are naturally funny.
But in like a sci-fi setting, I think is an especially tricky environment for an overall humorous tone. We've seen it with like not I was going to say Guardians of the Galaxy, which is technically an example, but for books, I'm thinking the obvious Douglas Adams Hitchhikers. Thank you. Yeah, you know,
Well,
absolute
Hitchhikers
classic.
is more that's more like unnatural comedy.
Yeah,
That's like it's a comedy, haha, and the guy's good at it, but it's not like a normal like human, funny time.
fair.
I think the reason that most sci-fi isn't generally thought of as funny is because it's mostly military, and in the military, it's the characters there are usually they're not really cracking jokes.
Oh,
Whereas,
here we go.
is he back? Mike is
Yeah.
back.
Hopefully for the rest of the show.
Fingers crossed.
Where did you go? What happened?
So I have crappy internet, and I actually have to use the phone through the internet because my cell phone gets 2 bars on a good day. So when the internet drops, I lose my landline, and my cell phone is worthless. So I'm like back in the 70s, and I just have to do smoke signals at that point. So
brutal. Well, the good news is we've done all the work for you. EL essentially single-handedly has now sold your book to everyone watching. And we can all go. We can all go have the rest of our night in peace because the job is done, It's great. Yeah, and still going hard. So this is great. That's what EL is here for. We were showing off the cover too. So this is the final updated version of the cover?
Yes.
Yeah, looks awesome. I'm excited. Let me flip here. Yeah.
So Mike, I'm sure you've answered this question a million times, but why Proxima Station? Why have you done this book at this time?
So, basically, I wanted to do a story, First Contact, and the 5 alien races are based on the 5 dogs that I've had. So each of the idiosyncrasies of the dog becomes a racial trait of all of the different things. And so when I was like, okay, well, if I'm going to do it, I pretty much can't kill anybody because I can't kill my dogs even, figuratively. So I was like, I guess it has to be cozy. And then I mean, everything I write, basically your main character is going to be put in a position, either in Grami's case, it's usually he does it to himself, but he's going to be nearly overwhelmed. And how do I get out of this? And, work the problem because I see no other option. And so basically he is just thrown one thing after another. And as soon as he gets out of one problem, it just leads right to the next. And it's just, endless. Everything's going to hit the fan. What do we do?
That's fun. So a little bit. So we were just talking about how The Martian is structured as opposed to like Hail Mary, and I came to the distinction that The Martian isn't really sci-fi; it's more techno thriller. But Hail Mary is more sci-fi because it deals with fantastical things. So, but the thing that connects them is that problem solving. So, did you approach Proxima with that in mind? Like, is that naturally how you create your plots?
So when they get there, the humans are, and I mean, writing, I'm like, I can't believe I'm writing this, but the humans are like, all these aliens are stupid. They all act like children. Let's get their tech. And the main character's like, they have spaceships. They create wormholes, and you're calling them stupid. So he is, and that's why I made him an anthropologist, so that he's actually like, he wants to actually get to know him, whereas the military is like, give us your tech, and
Right.
so they're really nowhere. And so since he's just like, hey, let's just chat, and so he gets much more done that way. But then, the alien species they're interesting. They make some interesting choices. It is so much fun. I think I started writing this like April 20th of this year. So I mean, it really did not take long.
Nice.
And I've never written anything that fast before. So
fair. How long is it again? I remember I saw the page count, but because it's novella length, right? Like
it's 28,000 words.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So, but I mean, I never had any trouble with for me, the first draft takes at least half of all the time. Because what happens next, but in this case, since the aliens were all based on my dogs, I knew exactly what they would do. Put them in a situation. I'm like, okay, well, this is how this will react, which will make this one, I got it. I mean, it was never a problem.
Speaking of, I think we have a picture for that. Let me flip to, I believe this is the right one. Yeah, this is it, right?
Yes.
This is, showing the inspirations.
So, yep, those are my 5 dogs, and poor Crichton got the blob. I mean, he was a basset hound, so
That's awesome. That's absolutely awesome. Yeah. Oh,
you got the big tough one, Grindel. You got the wise looking one, Calliope. You got the sexy looking one, Shadow.
Buddy was just weird.
Buddy's odd.
Yes, he was always very odd. And I will tell you that I told you the second book is going to be Jungle Planet. The third book is tentatively titled Area 1 Audit. So the Basset Hound is going to want to audit Area 51, and I'm going to have to try to make that interesting. So
fair. Yeah, so is it the Basset Hound that is the anthropologist, or is it a different character that
no, Anthony,
no, Mike is the anthropologist. They're in the middle.
So Anthony is the main character, but this one since I put my dogs in there, I was like, I put me in there instead of Anthony. So
okay, yeah.
But yeah, Anthony, actually, I've met him twice, and like 10 years ago when he was a teenager, and not since. But his grandmother used to work with me, and she's like, I'm babysitting. Can you take him off my hands for a little while, put him in the lab? And I'm like, sure, I'll have him make formulations. She's like, no, you can't do it. Like, I can do it as long as no one knows. So he made shampoos or lotions. Thought it was the greatest thing ever. I mean, I saw him twice. I haven't seen him since. And I'm like, hey, Deb, I'm your grandson. He's going to be the main character. What's his number? So I'm going to make sure he's okay with it. And he thought it was hysterical. So, I mean, I really don't know him. So the character has nothing to like his personality, because I last saw him when he was 15. And Buddy was not your dog.
Little brotherly rivalry going on here. That's good. Oh, man. Yeah, it's funny. Well, I mean, I shouldn't say this. Coming back from my academia days, I wanted to crack some sort of joke about you leading, him astray. You had the chance to convert someone to the beautiful hard science that is chemistry. He could have been making lipstick, and instead, what? He's an anthropologist? What happened? What'd you do?
Actually, he went into the Air Force.
Oh, okay. So, there we go.
so yeah, I was like, okay, well, send me a picture of you in your dress uniform. You have blue pants, light blue shirt, and yeah. So,
That's awesome.
and I told him some of the things that are going to happen later on. He's like, oh, I can't wait to read this now. I'm like, yeah, public embarrassment. That's what's going for you. I can't kill anyone, so we're going to humiliate people instead. And
Okay,
then, yeah,
this one is the one that has Anthony. There we go. Right? Yeah.
so yeah.
That's fun. Do you find that tough? I mean, by comparison to, I mean, there's a lot of humor in pretty much everything I've read of yours, but you're a little more cavalier with things like killing characters in some of your other works. So did you find that difficult, switching to a more jovial tone? Is that the right word?
No, I mean, this first one is I don't know if cozy is the right word. It's cozy adjacent if it's not cozy. The second one is Jungle Planet, when they go down on the planet and everyone nearly dies all the time. So I don't think that's really cozy, but it's light, it's fun. Yeah, it's actually, it's like I said, once I get the situation, I'm like, okay, this is how this one was going to react. This is how that one, I know exactly what they're going to do. So it's easy to write. And it's kind of lets me go down memory lane and deal with my dogs in a semi-realistic, not really sort of way.
Not really, but yeah, no, I get that. It's a nice little chance to just escape and have some good fun with some good memories.
Great source of material too.
Yeah,
to make some characters.
Yeah, that's awesome. I feel like we have some other. Okay, we have to ask about this. We have to ask. I've been excited, and I can't believe I almost didn't. We wouldn't have forgotten, but I can't believe it went over my mind. So, especially if Tim Wolf is still here. Tim, if you're still around, you're going to enjoy this. I'm excited. When you posted this made my day. This right here, and of course, I disappear again.
Yep.
There we go. Okay, so tell us about Proxima Station Bingo.
So everyone pictured here is in the story. And when I talked to Tim, I'm like, Tim, I'm going to make you're going to be kind of the villain. He's like, okay, great, love it. I'm like, okay, you're seducing the commandant of the space station. He goes, okay, great. I'm like, and she's going to have a pet name for you, and it's Timberwolf. And he did not say no to stop. So I was like, okay, I can't talk to Tim anymore, or else he'll tell me to not have him be the villain. So
so good.
And Poppy Alexander's is a general. And I have to mention that Colonel Katie Janeway there in the lower left corner is the colonel in charge of the station, and her brother is Rosaire Bell.
That makes me so happy. Must Make Road seriously ticked off. It's wonderful.
So I told him, I was like, yes, your sister's going to be in charge of the station, and her name is Katie Janeway.
That's so good. That's so.
Are you writing her accurately to Janeway, or is she your own thing?
She's my own thing. I'm just
safe, right?
People's names. I do have a description of Tim in there, and when I put it on Twitter, he's like, "Yeah, I guess I should use this as my dating profile or something." It was dark, disturbing eyes and a malevolent gaze, or something like that. He's like, "Hey, thanks, wonderful."
That's good. Oh man, that's fun. I mean, what are friends for if not to just totally betray them in our books?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's great too, because this speaks to the kind of awesome community that's around, with authors and YouTubers on places like Twitter and everywhere else. Because I mean, we know all these people. I think two.
Yeah,
and your dogs, obviously, but only a few on here are people I don't know. It's awesome. It's a really, really great crew you got here.
Yeah, so Dingleberry Carter, the one next to Captain Janeway, he's actually a maintenance man where I work. He's 6'5", he's like 270, and he's like, "Am I going to be in your book?" I'm like, "You're going to be a yappy Dotson." And he laughed and said, yes. Oh my God, yes. So yeah.
I love it. Yeah, just make sure Pete, I guess, who I get to be, is not a yappy chihuahua, or you'll break my heart.
So
Anything else?
so there's two characters when they're doing their training before they leave for the station, and they don't talk to any one of the six of them who are going to the station. He's like, they're muscle bound, crew cut. They don't. All they do is they get up and they say they're stretching, but they're just flexing their muscles. They don't talk to us. So I just call them Pete and repeat. And then once they're on the station, the guy's like, okay, you two go see them. I'm like, oh wait, not you two. It's McKay, Anderson, go see. So you all get named. So you are
Cool.
You're the crew cut, muscle bound jocks.
If you need someone eaten by the jungle in the next one,
we volunteer.
Oh yeah, we'll put on red shirts.
Well, if I get people off, I'll let you know.
That's exciting. That is exciting. Well, I've already pre-ordered, so now I'm definitely excited to see my alternate timeline or other parallel universe.
Yeah, they got the wormhole, so yeah,
perfect,
easy, yeah, definitely.
How things could have been. It's so sad. Oh man, anyways, yeah, this is a great idea. I love it. Yeah, I'm gonna see. Well, in I feel like my darker books is where I would put everyone I know from Twitter, just to watch them scramble. Try to survive some serious bald dome scenarios there, but it's pretty good.
I started my first book. I had to put a friend in there, and then he's like, "No, that's not how I do. I do this." And so I was like, "Okay, you know what? New rules. You can be in the book, but you'll probably be in for a chapter, and then you're going to die." and he's like, "But I'll die heroically saving everyone, right?" I'm like, "No, you're not the main character. You're going to trip and impale yourself on a knife or something."
This was Cal something, or I feel like I remember the name. And then
Free.
Sorry?
Free.
Okay, no. So I think there's a different character I'm thinking of, because I remember you saying, it might have even been to us the last time when you were on with Ro. You were talking about a character where someone you hadn't said that you put them in the story.
Yeah. So my oldest brother Tim, I was like, "Do you want to be in the story?" He's like, "No, do not put me in the story. Do not put." And I was like, "Okay, well, I got this one head druid who really thinks a lot of himself. This is Tim." So I just, Caradoc, I was like, I just won't tell Tim that this is the character. And, and then he read it. He's like, "Yeah, I really like Caradoc. You need more Caradoc." And I'm like, "Oh, of course you do. Of course you like him."
That cracks me up. And you know what? That is the goal. Never, the goal would definitely be to write someone I know into the book, see if they've read it, and see if they like that character without knowing it's them. And then you've done it well. Like that's actually that. Congrats. That's a job well done. And also freaking hilarious. Maybe it just says that your brother has a bit of an ego.
Well, he's the oldest, so he has oldest sibling itis.
Yeah.
He's always right. He always, tells you what you should do. I'm like, I'm 54. Do you think I will listen to you? I didn't do that when I was 14.
Yeah. I'm technically the oldest, but because my parents split up and then my dad remarried and had 4 more kids. So I'm sort of oldest, and then my brother, who's 5 years younger than me, it's also like he's the oldest of that group of 4. So it's this weird dynamic of I'm kind of the oldest. I'm allowed to boss them around, but sort of don't, because then he does, and I don't want to be nearly that bossy. So it's I get to let him be the bad guy, and then I just come in and give them treats or something.
There you go.
In our family, because there's so many of us, we call that A squad and B squad. I was captain of the A squad, and as more kids kept getting born, we had B squad, and they had the captain of the B squad.
Oh, that's funny. Oh man, yeah. Because how many you told me the other day? And I remember being
I'm the oldest of 9.
Of 9. Yep. Wow. Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, I know one family that has like 9, and then I know another family that has 13. And that just absolutely blows me away.
It's very fun. There's so many of us.
Fair. Yeah.
I'm a middle child, so that probably explains a lot.
Yep. You know what? There we go. Everything you need to know about Mike Mollman right there. That's awesome. So where is because Dan's here in the chat? Where does everyone fall then? Tim's the oldest, you said?
Tim is the oldest. Tom was second oldest. He passed away a couple years ago.
Mm,
Then me, then Danny's the baby.
okay.
Oh, so much the baby.
Danny.
That's awesome.
So, and I'll tell you, it ticked me off to no end. I was a little bit taller than Tom, so I was not the shortest because 4 boys. This matters. This is utmost importance.
Yes.
And then Tom had back surgeries. He had titanium rods implanted, and it made him grow 2 inches with the titanium rod. So he was then taller than me. And probably guys like, Mike's the shortest now. Mike's the shortest.
That sucks. Yeah, I feel that pain. Actually, I had a great moment when I was a teenager where I started. I mean, I'm 6'4", so I definitely had my major spurt. And at the same time, my dad was just old enough that he started hitting that age where he started to lose height. So I still remember 2 separate days where we were hanging out and we checked our height. So on one of those days, they were about a month. Honestly, it was only like a month apart. And on one day, he was 6'1" and I was 6 feet. And you better believe he let me know, oh, that's right, I am like it was really funny seeing this grown man rub in that he's still the taller one between us. The next time we checked, I'm 6'1" and he's 6 feet. We had to recheck 5 or so times just to know he had shrunk a full freaking inch.
Nice.
That was a beautiful day of my life, I'll tell you. I gave as good as I got. Yeah, life gives you those little treats sometimes. Oh man, what else do we have here? Yeah, because you gave a lot of awesome pictures here. I want to make sure we get to some of these little treats. Bingo, I was definitely most excited for.
That was a lot of fun. I'm like, now I'm going to do this for every book.
Yeah, that's
great.
Yeah, what a great. I mean, you can have a lot of fun with that. Again, I'm all for killing my friends in books, but this is great too. Villains works, especially for Tim Wolf. I really like that. Oh man. And then okay, I wanted to show this off a little bit before we were talking about druids for a second there. So this is awesome. Every time I see that you do this, just tell us a little bit about what goes into the presentation.
You are the king of mailing out advanced review copies.
So I'll tell you that where I work, we have a contract with, I think it's Rico. So the ink is paid for as part of the contract. So when we run out, they just send us new ones. Copier emails them. They send it to us automatically. So the guy in charge is like, Mike, the only thing we're paying for is paper, and I don't care about paper. So all those I can print at work for free. And it just so happens if you have a 6x9 book, the 11x17 is perfect unless it's really, really thick, like somebody with a beard here. But for a normal sized, good sized fantasy book, it's perfect. You don't have to do any trimming. And so I did that, and then I was like, I'm going to get wax seals, and the first one is an owl because Grommy does. Yeah. In one of the Discords, when I did a read along, somebody goes, Jesus, Mike, I was told that he turns to an owl all the time, but really, page 2?
2 pages in, yeah.
And I'm like, no, come on. And I was like, oh yeah, sure enough, he does. Okay.
I love it. Your depiction of druids makes me so happy on a lot of different levels. Those books are absolutely fantastic. So
then now the wax seals, they match the color of the title so that I know which one is which. I mean, each map has different, but the quick is, hey, what color is the wax seal? Okay, I know which book this is because. Yeah. And then the one for Haley Traveler, I have Mars, and I already have stuff picked out for Haley 2, Haley 3, Proxima 1.
So there is something like this coming for Proxima Station too.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I started this. Everyone tells me they love it, and I'm like, it costs me 5 little pellets of wax. So
Is it going to be something like, because you have this map for the station? Is this going to be it, or something else that you have in mind?
So the crazy thing is on Amazon, you can get a custom wax stamp made for like $15.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So the wax stamp is actually going to be, the station is going to be cut into the wax stamp. So that'll be the wax. But then I spend way too much time going, which one do I want for the wrapping paper? Do I want this? Do I want that? Do I want, and I go hunting every which way for all kinds of different things. But yeah, I have it. I've settled on for Proxima Station. I know what Haley 2 and 3 are going to be. I need something for Jungle Planet because I don't want it to be exactly the same as the cover. It has to be a little different, but yeah.
That's fun. Yeah. Definitely makes I mean, for mail outs, those are awesome. And that's a treat. That's definitely a treat to get a book in the mail looking like that. And everyone loves maps. I need to get a map. Maps are tricky, but they're absolutely worth it.
So I also, if people tell me they like maps when I send them, I actually will print out the map on just regular paper, and then I'll soak it in tea for a couple hours and let it dry. And then it's kind of crinkly and it has that aged sort of thing. You can have air bubbles, so it's not all uniform. Oh, yeah. I get into it.
That's all out. That's amazing. Yeah.
So, yeah, this is what happens when you're not married. You can do this because and I can lay towels down over top of my entire kitchen table and like do 20 of these at a time, and yeah.
Single life definitely has its perks. That's funny. That's absolutely awesome. Yeah, that brings me back. That's like old school, school crafts. I loved doing that, throwing paper in tea water just to give it that archaic feel. Oh, I love that. I don't know. I did not know that's what you did to give this effect, which is absolutely awesome.
Well, for the wraps, they're actually, I got parchment and I put it there. That's why you can see the white line because but if you want a map for the wall, I will absolutely print it out and then soak it in tea and make it look aged.
Yeah. Good to know. Okay. Yeah, very cool. And I'm gonna have to ping you after. I would love to custom wax seals or custom stamps. I have. Have you ever done the book embossers, the internal ones?
I have book embossers, and I started trying to use them, but I tore several pages, and I wasn't paying attention, so I had it sitting on top of another book, and every time I'd punch, I was just putting dents into the hardcover.
Oh no!
So I was like, okay, yeah, I'm just ruining books doing this. So
yeah.
I have them, but I mean, I don't know. People better than me can probably do it, but I'm like, yeah, I got them, but.
I think the one I got, the symbol was maybe a bit too complex. So they gave me a sample that came with it where they had done it themselves and they managed to get it perfect. But to this day, I've never managed to stamp. And I put some heavy force into it when I'm trying. And no matter how I do it, sometimes I have like a stamp that I'll pre emboss, or I'll do it straight on the page. No matter what, it never is quite as clear as their sample. So yeah, and then you end up ripping pages, which is an absolute treat. You spend however much on one of those books, and there goes the main cover page.
Yep,
great. That's a treat.
Behind me, those are the ones that I have screwed up in one way or another. I'm like, okay, I can't sell them. You can't tell from this distance. There we go. So now I can't screw up anymore because, they're all something's wrong with each of them.
Fair. Yep. And it adds up quick. Definitely adds up quick. Oh man. Well, Isaac, what do you think? Is it that time?
I think it's that time. So, Mike, I've heard told that you are an expert in movie trivia. You've seen every movie. You see movies all the time. You've seen movies.
Yeah, I saw the Harry Potter movies.
This is gonna be
so
good.
we want to take your movie knowledge and see if you can save a life. With your movie knowledge.
Sorry for whoever this is.
This is Brian. You have to save Brian. Brian he's an obsessive movie watcher and he struggles with spatial awareness. You need to help him out of some tight spots by speaking his language. What advice would you give him based on the movie that's currently on his mind?
Don't go to Tokyo.
So we're going to put him in some situations and give you some movies, and based on the movie, how are you going to help him get out of the situation he's in? Because he's oblivious. He only speaks movie.
That makes two of us.
This is going to be fun.
Okay, so this first one, he's wandered into an Everglades situation. And he's thinking about Bambi. So How would you get him out of that alligator problem using only knowledge from Bambi?
A little off topic, but have either of you seen Godzilla versus Bambi?
No.
No, this is a thing.
It's a cartoon, and they'll show like Godzilla, destroying Tokyo, and they'll show Bambi frolicking, and then they'll show Godzilla breathing fire, and they'll show Bambi, playing with Thumper, and then just cuts back, forth, and all of a sudden you see Bambi looks up, and this giant green foot goes splash.
We did not do this on purpose, but that is amazing.
We used to watch it all. We used to laugh like hell. I was like 8 years old, and we thought this was the funniest thing we've ever seen. Still to this day, it's up there, top 10.
Bambi versus. I have to look it up now.
I don't know if you'll find it.
Who
This
killed
is good.
Bambi's mom.
I'll find it. This is going to make a very good highlight clip.
That's from the 70s, I think. So,
wow,
probably before the Lord of the Rings cartoon. The Hobbit cartoon.
The Hobbit cartoon. Wow.
Not the Lord of the Rings. That was terrible. Don't even. That makes the movies look much better. But anyway,
you didn't like the Lord of the Rings cartoon?
The Lord of the Rings cartoon was horrible. The Hobbit.
Is the one I'm thinking of. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. It wasn't as the Hobbit cartoon. Freaking classic. Yeah.
That's the one I've seen.
Yeah,
I can understand. That's interesting. It's been a very long time. It wasn't standout good, but I don't remember it being horrible. But now I kind of want to go rewatch it. This is
it was as bad as the Hobbit movies are.
That's bad. Okay, yeah.
Wow.
Well, that's a low blow. Okay.
So he's in the swamp, and I have to help him get away. And
you gotta yell at him, give him some Bambi advice.
Okay. Wow, I've not seen Bambi in like 45 years. And it's a top search. Nice. Okay. So it's older than me. Wow. So I would say that he has to make like Thumper and get out of there, do some running around in circles. Maybe chase a butterfly, although butterflies will go for the eyes of the alligators and like suck the salt water out of them.
I've heard of that, yes.
So if he could marshal the butterflies to go attack the alligator, this would solve the whole problem, but I don't know how you do that. Okay, I'm not a butterfly whisperer.
You've told Brian to just run around in circles like Thumper and talk to butterflies. He's dead. You killed Brian. The alligator's eating him.
Fair.
Hopefully you can save Brian in this next situation.
I doubt it.
There we go.
Okay, so Brian is in the dark and he's being approached by a man with savage morals. And he's thinking about Forrest Gump. So what advice from Forrest Gump would you give him to get out of the situation?
Run, Forrest, run.
Run, Forrest, run.
Yeah.
I think that works. I think that gets him away from this man, because I don't think that man can run very fast with that tire iron or that crowbar.
So I have a question. Is the guy with the crowbar, is that from a movie? Because if it is, I don't recognize it.
No, I Google searched serial killers and I got real serial killers. I'm like, that's not fun. So I serial killers stock footage. And I got a lot of stuff, those watermarks. I was like, I did mean man, scary man. And I got that one.
So I was going to say, because I've seen none of the horror movies. So if it's from one of those, I can tell you Freddy Krueger from the rest, but that's probably about it.
Okay. Well, good news is Brian doesn't watch very many horror movies either. This next one, I don't remember what the next one I put was, but it's not horror. Oh, yeah, it's great. Superman 3. Have you seen Superman 3, Mike?
No.
It is a classic Superman film. Brian's thinking about Superman 3 and Richard Pryor, and he's wandering way too close to that killer beehive. How are you going to save his life using only Superman 3 knowledge that you don't have?
I mean, there's got bees there. That has to be honey, so that's kind of tempting. What would I do? I would tell him to go to a phone booth and change into a bee costume, and then he can go and take the honey from the hive and not worry about the bees stinging him.
Okay. So Brian, he looks around for a phone booth, doesn't see one in the countryside he's in, and he's killed by bees. But if there was a phone booth and he had access to a bee costume, then yeah, that would have worked just fine. But unfortunately, he's on the ground all swole up.
Oh, anaphylactic. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Oh well.
Rough way to go. All right, next one.
Here's the final one, I believe. Brian is in a car. He's going into oncoming traffic, and he's thinking about the classic Tim Allen movie, The Shaggy Dog, which everyone has seen. Everyone knows this film. What advice? This was actually Robert Downey Jr.'s true comeback movie before Iron Man. He was in this one. How would you save Brian's life? He's thinking about Shaggy Dog and Tim Allen and proto Iron Man.
Well, first I have to say that this situation is pretty rough. That's the best I got. It's going downhill from there. I don't know. I would say go find a fire hydrant and get behind it.
Oh, okay. He leaps out of the car, hits a fire hydrant, hard and dies. But he was not hit by the car.
Yeah, see?
Wasn't killed by the car. And as he dies, the last thing he sees in his mind is Tim Allen's human eyes on that dog. And he goes to some form of hell. I'm not sure which form, but it wasn't.
All dogs go to heaven. You
no, he's thinking about the weird Tim Allen dog. He goes to that hell.
That's rough.
Yeah, really rough. Yeah, the Shaggy Dog Downey Jr. was very he was very sus in that movie.
Terrible. This is so terrible.
Well,
Shaggy Dog Downey Jr. was still a little sus. Yeah, that's awesome.
You saved Brian, I believe, one time, which is the new record for saving Brian. So I want to have this to be a normal thing. I want people to save Brian from different situations.
I like this idea. Yeah, we'll see how many times Brian can make it through. Speaking of movies really quick, did you know that Proxima Station comes out the same day as, I believe I have this right, Fantastic Four? So thank goodness.
It's called Fantastic Four: The First Steps.
The First Steps.
Get it right.
At least now we have an alternative, so we don't have to go watch that.
So when people leave Fantastic Four really bored, if you want something exciting and fun to read, pick up Proxima Station.
Yeah. So how was the Jurassic Park movie?
I have opinions about the Jurassic Park movie. If you are bringing children to the movie, they will have a fantastic fun time. My little brother, Jace, loved every moment. Loved it. He was drawing pictures of dinosaurs for days. As for me, the movie had some issues with the writing of the main characters. Like, the movie begins like 3 times. 4 times if you count like the little summary in the beginning of the movie, on just text on screen telling you what happened in the last movie. You meet Scarlett's character, rich guy's like, come to this thing, this is why. She says, okay. They meet history nerd guy in museum. Come to this thing, here's this money, do it. Okay. They meet boat guy. They do the same thing 3 different times. That could have been one scene. We could have focused on the museum. It was a lot of, people didn't show you the museum was doing bad. They told you the museum was doing bad. They didn't show you that the guy lost his kid. They tell you the guy lost his kid. It felt like there was a first draft of the movie that was really, really fun. And then the studio gave him notes on the characters, and they had to really quickly write some new stuff. They didn't have time to plan interesting shots or new locations, and they just ran with that. But once it gets to the dinosaurs, it's pretty fun. And the finale was lackluster, I felt. So that's my review of the new Jurassic Park. I give it 6 out of 10, 5 out of 10. If the characters were better, then I think I would have liked it a lot more.
And it technically comes out, on the 2nd? So 2 days? Do I have that
right?
It
comes out in 2 days, yeah.
2 days, yeah. It was made to sell dino toys. Yeah, this I think is accurate.
Oh, and it will do very well selling dinosaur toys. The dinosaurs are very fun in the movie. They do
especially
a very good
that that alien hybrid one, the the one that's
that one was
what they call the xenomorph, basically.
Yeah, it was underutilized. The opening of the movie made me go ooh, because they had that cold open when early Jurassic Park days. That was like ooh, that hit the Michael Crichton spot.
Okay,
but after that they kind of lost it a lot. I mean, if I'm watching the film and I'm critiquing the writing of the film as I'm watching the film, then I'm not enjoying myself very much. But once it got into the more mindless, here's the dinosaurs. We're chasing the fish dinosaur now. That was fun. But yeah. And then there are no raptors. There were no raptors in the movie. And you can't have Jurassic Park without raptors.
That's really disappointing to me. Yeah.
So when my brother came and he brought his two sons to visit me, the one and only time, and so they were 8 and 5 years old, I'm like, you know what? I got a big screen TV. It was like 55 inches. That was huge then.
Yeah.
I'm like, let's watch Jurassic Park. And we'd be watching it, and I just look over and I go, this is where little Timmy dies. They go, oh no, Uncle Mike, no way. I'm like, yeah, sorry, he's gonna get eaten here. And then they'd watch it, and he escaped, and they go, you lied to us, Uncle Mike. I'm like, oh well, I forgot. It's really this next scene coming up here, and they're like, no way. And the whole movie was just like that. And the youngest one would pull his knees up up to his chin, and he'd just be hugging himself. And then they'd get away, and he'd be like, you lied, Uncle Mike. I'm like, yeah, and I'm going to do it again. And guess what? You're going to fall for it again.
This is terrible. That's absolutely terrible.
Oh
yeah. They had some pretty good scares in this one. Moments that maybe go ooh, but the highlight was the river raft scene, which is from the first book. I remember reading Jurassic Park, and that river scene was my favorite part of the book. So it was cool to finally see a version of that in one of the films. And that was the best part. But yeah, this movie is definitely kid approved.
Okay. So I may watch it 4 years from now when it's on Prime.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's definitely a Prime watch. Definitely. I don't know if it's a theater watch. It probably isn't a theater watch.
Do you go to a lot of movies like in theater, Mike, or what would it take to get you to go if you don't?
So probably 15 years ago, I would go, but I'd choose Tuesday night, and 4 or 5 times I was the only person in the theater.
Yeah,
which I always thought was just great.
Yeah.
And then I always thought it was funny because as soon as I stood up to leave, the movie stopped. So there's somebody like, come on, leave. And as soon as I stood up,
I've had that. Yes. Yeah.
But I saw a double feature. I saw Wolverine and then whatever Star Trek movie. So the Wolverine, I was there, only person in the theater. And then Star Trek, 2 minutes before it started, 3 other people came in. I almost got a double feature on a Sunday afternoon all to myself.
Wow.
And I was
like the Chris Pine Star Trek?
Yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah. Wow. That's wild.
But then they all closed. Now they're the multiplexes that, which seat do you want? We have 3 different levels of charging you and I don't know. I don't really watch a lot of TV except for maybe some sports. So
yeah, the showing we saw, the new Jurassic Park, it was one of their AMC's secret showings where they have it's a secret movie. So it's only $7 to get in, which is a great price, but you don't know what you're going to see. But we heard rumors it was going to be Jurassic Park, and the length of the film they show online, it matched perfectly for the next Jurassic Park, so we knew it was Jurassic Park, so we took everybody with us. And they had a big man come out as the movie was beginning, as the title was opening. This big old man who was like, I am with Universal. You will not let it take photos. Not allowed to take videos. If we think you are, we will take you out. And he leaves. He said, enjoy the movie. And he walks away. And sure enough, there was a guy down there the whole time watching us as we were watching the movie.
Wow.
So that was fun.
Yeah, that's an experience. I think I've only had an advanced viewing once, and it was for one of the Harry Potter movies. I forget which one, but I got to see it. But it was it came out on the Friday, and I got to see it on the Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, and oh, it's gonna bug me. It might have been Half-Blood Prince, I think. Yeah. So that was.
I haven't seen any of the Harry Potter movies.
How did I not know that?
Zero. Never read the
Wow.
books. Never seen the movies.
That's funny. That's funny.
How did you miss that? I mean, you're the right age. It should have been.
Yeah, I wouldn't allowed to read Harry Potter. My mom was like, "Oh, that's witchcraft. You can't read that."
Yeah, yeah.
So I said, "Okay," and I never was really drawn to it anyway. I loved Lord of the Rings, and I knew that it wasn't Lord of the Rings, so like, why would I care about that? It's not Lord of the Rings.
It's kind of like when I was in high school or whatever. My mom was like, "You can't play D&D. That's devil worship."
Yeah, yeah. That's the other classic. Yeah. I started reading Harry Potter just before my church days began. So I didn't know I wasn't supposed to. So I blasted through all the ones that were available. And then whenever they came out, I would keep reading them. And then one day back then, I went to Sunday school. But this was like for teens because I was a teenager at the time. And one of the guys comes to me and I arrived late. That was the thing. So he comes to me, pulls me aside. He's like, "Okay, while you weren't here, there's someone in the group who said they saw Harry Potter and they actually like it. Can you believe that? You know the Bible. You're like the Bible guy between us. Can you like show them the verses? Can you get them to stop? Like, can you show them how bad it is?" And I'm like, "I love Harry Potter. What are you talking about?" I was like, "It's so good and charming and full of positive morals. And what are you talking about? They're using Latin. It's not like what? You know, I thought he was like off his rocker. It was great. So I definitely lost some you know, good standing and had to earn it back slowly but surely.
Yeah, Mike, the phenomenon I got caught up in at the same time Harry Potter was going on was a series of unfortunate events. I was absorbing those books.
There we go. Yeah.
And once I learned that the movie sequel was canceled so they could focus on Harry Potter instead, then I definitely didn't like Harry Potter.
Oh,
I didn't know that.
But Jim Carrey, he was ready to go. He was very excited to do the next. He wanted to do 2 more.
Yeah.
They wanted to do them quickly because he loved they were making real sets. He loved that the child actors were
I liked that movie. Yeah.
It was a great film. The music was great. The acting was great. The direction was great. Everything was great. And they're like, "It's not Harry Potter." So that really solidified my disinterest in the Harry Potter stories.
That's the first fair reason for not giving Harry Potter a chance I have ever heard. Congratulations, because that hits home. I love those books. You know what? Those books are to me, if I have a single author goal, it is to match the humor and beauty and just genius of the dedications in those books.
Yeah.
My favorite part of those books. Mike, have you ever like read or seen, or do you know what I'm saying when I talk about the dedications in the series of unfortunate events?
No, I never saw that.
Every single one of the books, I think it's Dear Beatrice, right?
Yeah, Dearest Beatrice. No one could extinguish our love or your house.
Yeah. They always start with something like that, like this bleak, "You died," you know, like you know,
they're wonderful. So they're written by Daniel Handler, who's going by the name Lemony Snicket, and he's in character as he's writing the books as Lemony Snicket. So Lemony Snicket is writing down the histories of these children, and he was in love with their mother, and the mother thought he had died and he disappeared, and she got married to somebody else and had these kids, and so he's kind of taken it upon himself to chronicle these orphans' poor lives because he wasn't there to help them. It's very, very funny in a very dark and sad way. It's so delightful.
Yeah.
Which is so strange to say. It's about orphans on the run, and this man's trying to steal and kill them, and it's very delightful. It's so wonderful.
For so bleak a story, it shouldn't be as fun as it is, and it just is. It's amazing. It's an incredible.
The tone is perfect. He's like walking on the. Oh yeah, I mean, the first book. My favorite thing he did was that first book is totally written for kids. It's very simple.
Yeah,
the plot's very, very simple. But there are 13 books in all, and by the 13th book, the plot is more complicated. The characters are more interesting. The motivations are complex and unique and strange, and you grow as a reader as you're going through. He's teaching kids how to read complex books as you're going through it, and he does it in such a wonderful way.
You know what other series does that?
Which?
Harry Potter.
My sister has read Harry Potter for the first time ever. She is 14, 15.
Okay.
She said the first books were great. So the last books, nothing's happening. They're boring. Nothing's happening. It's been 300 pages. Nothing's happened yet. Harry's just
so much happened.
She didn't like them.
I love them.
The problem is they're over 500 pages.
That's the other thing. Lemony Snicket is so concise.
Yeah,
it's like drinking concentrate.
His books did get longer too, but it was still. You're right. They were still small enough to feel bite-sized all the way through.
Well, they got bigger as they went along, but to a kid, it felt like I'm reading this massive book, but it's really just not that.
They're still short. Yeah.
It was a wonderful magic trick that he did to all these young readers.
I've got a few more of these dedications here. To Beatrice, darling, dearest, dead. Or for Beatrice, my love for you shall live forever. You, however, did not.
Nice.
And each book would end with a letter to his editor, and it would have clues for what's happening in the next book. And the message it was always like, if the next book was about them on the snowy mountain, it was his typewriter's freezing, and not every letter is coming through the ink, and it's just so much fun, very creative. So I have gushed about this book for children long enough. It's a book for children. So if any of you adults watching or listening pick up Unfortunate Events, remember it's a book for children. So just keep that in mind.
You need a break from grim.
They're wonderful, but they're made for children.
Yeah, and I highly recommend Bambi versus Godzilla.
We are definitely making a clip with Bambi versus Godzilla.
Oh, that'll happen. Yeah.
You know what? This is
yeah. Lemony Snicket's just so wonderful.
Yeah,
they're so wonderful.
I like a break and just going back to some younger things. Like Del Toro Quest for me was the fantasy miniseries that kind of got me hooked, other than Lord of the Rings. Ironically, I read those two very close together. And one is geared to kids and one obviously is not. But the bite-sized, novella-sized, these bite-sized novella-sized fantasy books with fun little puzzles thrown in, so you're kind of solving them alongside the characters. Like, it got you hooked. And I went back recently, I think just last year, and I reread the first two, and I kind of put it on hold because I am a little older. It was just a little too young to go any further, but it was super fun just to re-experience that thrill, that guy. I don't know. So I feel like a lot of adults can actually go back and really enjoy these things. Some of it's
Snicket especially, because he has so much stuff he references in those books. They're just for the adult readers in the room, and they're not like dirty things. They're like philosophical and smart things that are also jokes that the kids won't get, that the adults will get, and they're just fun.
It's like one of those old good Disney movies. They always threw in a lot of stuff.
It is kind of like an old Disney movie, yeah. And if you get the audiobooks, they're all narrated by Tim Curry.
Oh, that's fun. I did not know that. That's fun. Tim Curry's a great actor. Very cool. Oh man. So Mike, how are you? Look at that. We are closing in. I mean, a little over an hour now, and this is your second show of the night, which is saying something. Thank you for coming on after.
No worries. I typically tell myself I have to go to bed at midnight. The nights when I look and I'm like, oh, it's 1:30. It's really going to suck tomorrow. So I'm good. I'm a night owl.
It's Ro who isn't, right? I feel like he's definitely said he's not.
4:30. He goes to bed at 9. So when we have the 8 o'clock shows, it's like, oh, look at the time. Gotta go. Bye.
Yeah, no, I'm less of a morning person than I used to be, but I've never not been a night person, if that makes sense. There was a long period of time where I still went to bed pretty late, but I had to be up early, like really, really early. And then I would make up for the next night, go to bed earlier, but I was still getting up crazy early. Now that's moved forward a little bit. But yeah, the night owl part, that'll probably never go away.
Yeah, I need to become a morning person. I've been trying to force myself. I went a good stretch where I was, but then I fell back again for staying up too late.
Fair.
So I need to really make that switch.
Yeah.
Force myself.
So, do either of you guys have something coming out soon?
Possibly.
Tim does. My stuff is like maybe in the spring or the fall. I'm aiming for the fall for my stuff. The next Song of Bones book is shaping up to be pretty horrifying. I don't know how much of what I've written is going to make it in the final book, but hopefully most of it.
Well, that horrifying scene I just read, like that has to stay because that was fun. But that's my bias coming out.
You have a carnivorous jungle in your upcoming thing, right?
Yes.
I have a carnivorous forest, which is a little bit different.
A little bit different, yeah.
It's awesome. Yeah. I was very happy with what I saw so far, and that wasn't that much, but it's if that's the direction we're going, I'm very excited. I mean, on my end, my audiobook just came out, so that's been a thrill. That's been a lot of fun actually. So getting to watch the hours come in and the launch was so last minute. So I really, it caught me on a day when I was exhausted. And I knew it was probably going to come out somewhere soon, but then it just happened. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm launching an audiobook today. Yeah. And at 5:30 p.m. while everyone's eating. And I thought, oh, this sucks. And it blew up. I couldn't have been happier with how well it went. So that's and it makes it easier for people who don't like long books because it's only 17 hours.
Yeah. So you gotta love that with Audible. They don't tell you get an email like when they launch it. You get an email that you may or may not check, in a week's time, and then you're like, "Oh, hey, my book's been out for 2 days now, people." Yeah. Thanks, Audible. We couldn't embrace technology and tell me ahead of time, could you?
Yeah. Or let me schedule it, But yeah, they have their approval time, and that may or may not be how long it takes. Anyways, yeah. So that's been a riot, and then I'm trying to get out a novella in time for Sphinx. So that's my thing right now. And I'm close. That's so if things go to plan, which they should, I'll have time. I should finish it within the next 1 to 2 weeks. And then I have to edit the living heck out of it. So that's going to be a tight schedule because it has to be published by the end of the summer, by August 31st. So I'm aiming for August 30th. I am absolutely
plenty of time.
Yeah, that's time. That's time enough. It's going to be about 25,000 words. Is what it's looking like right now. So,
Proxima will be in that contest too, right?
What's it? Yeah,
you're putting Proxima Station in, right? Yeah.
So I have a question for you all about Proxima.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's all kinds of ridiculous. And for the audiobook, I don't know. There's two people I have in mind: Andrew Meredith or Andy Witham. And I don't know. I mean, either one of them would knock it out of the park.
Yeah, I've only seen a few videos of Andy chatting, whereas I've heard some of Andrew's narration and just his voice in general. So I mean, I'll always be a little bit biased because he's awesome. He's kind of the king of this in as far as I'm concerned. But
so I mean, I've listened to Blackjack and then the first two Rooker Flynn books that have come out. I mean, I absolutely love him telling the story because he gets all excited when I mean, he lives it. He doesn't just read it.
Fair.
But then Andrew Meredith, I mean, I listened to Thrice and I'm like, he just did a 5-year-old boy and then a hulking brute talking to each other, and one is husky and the other one is I'm like, man, this guy can do anything with his voice. So I'm like, I don't think I can go wrong, but I'm just
that's a tough call.
How many different characters you have that whole bingo sheet, but how many of them have lines and dialogue? Is it a big cast?
Yeah.
So it's going to be Anthony, the 5 aliens, Tim Wolf, and Kate Janeway.
Okay.
That's massive.
Doable.
Yeah, especially for a novella. Actually, people, they read it and they're like, "Okay, you introduced 5 people all at once. That's too much." And I was like, "But the whole goal is I want you to feel overwhelmed like Anthony is because he's just been putting. I'm like, so that's absolutely. I'm going for it. And everyone keeps like, you're introducing too many. You got to space it out. I'm like, no, I do not. I will get out of Sphinx in a heartbeat for this. But this is what I'm going for.
Yeah.
So I'm absolutely not going to listen to you.
We'll definitely go with the man with the voices.
Hmm.
That'd be my advice. If you have that many characters, go with the guy who can make them feel all unique.
Yeah, I mean, I've had the beta feedback was absolutely glowing. I mean, I felt so uncomfortable. Like it's not that good. Stop. But everyone says all the aliens are very distinct. You can tell which one is talking just by. And I'm like, well, again, I lived with each of them for a dozen years at least. So but so I mean, I think a lot of it is easy. You pick up on the page, but yeah, like the one Calliope, she only talks in couplets. So,
yeah, like, but that I think you hit the nail on the head there. Where I like situations to feel real. I don't like reading stories where you can tell it's been, orchestrated on my behalf as the reader. Where normally a person would be talking to 5 or 6 new people at the same time and overwhelmed by that situation. Then they get the chance to slowly, meet these people one-on-one and slowly, acclimate to the new social environment, right? That's how normal interactions go. When I can tell that the author is kind of cheating to give me only 2 at a time, when they've just entered a room with 70 people, it like sometimes it works well if it actually feels realistic, but most of the time I can tell the author's doing it. And this is before I became an author. This bugged me reading. I'm not just saying this as like we authors can be overcritical sometimes because we know the craft, but I think this is just the case. Is reader Tim very okay? Overwhelm the heck out of me. I'll catch up if it feels real.
So yeah, I mean, I'm a no illusions. I'm not going to be like Tim or like EL and make it to the finals. I'm going to get cut in the first round, and that's fine. I'm not really trying to win. I just want people to hear about my book.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to pull an EL and just scramble something together last minute and throw it in and see if something happens. But yeah, I bow to EL's expertise. So, we'll see what happens. This is just having some fun. And that is, in my case, I'm really just goofing around with this story a little bit. So we'll see what happens. But
so I can't wait for this to come out. My goal is to have the first draft of Jungle Planet finished before the book comes out on the 25th, and I just started it like 2 weeks ago.
Okay, well,
so
month and a half, right? That's
so I was telling myself I was going to publish 3 books this year, and my first book doesn't get published till the end of July, and I'm like, I'm going to run out of calendar because you don't want them to sit on top of each other. You want to give them room to breathe. Yeah. So I'm looking at July, September, December. I'm like, that's tight. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But
still fun. Yeah. So this is then the first thing you've released this year.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So I released Haley Traveler, basically a year ago.
Yeah.
That's wild. It does not feel that long. I remember that coming out. So
time flies, man.
Yeah. What is happening to us? Well, maybe you would know more than us younglings, but
I can't wait until I'm more in Mike's position. I love that picture of all of your books. You have I think you had 5 or 6 in that picture. Now you have 3 more coming out, and I can't wait till my 2 books have so many brothers and sisters.
So I've been told by a couple different authors that if you wanted to, you quit your job and be an author, you need 10 books. And then if you're selling, then you have a spouse that has health insurance and a good paying job, but you can do it. And I don't want to retire from my job just to start another job, but I do want to write for fun. So, but I figure I'll have 8 books early next year. So, and I mean, basically if I can, all my Comic-Cons I go to will pay for themselves. And so, that's 12, 18 weeks out of the year that is paid for revenue neutral. Then I only have to pay for the other 30 some odd weeks of the year, I'm like, then things get easy. So that's kind of the goal. And that's why I start selling other people's books like you guys, because one, I sell more, which makes the Comic Cons easier on me financially, and two, I don't want a movie made of my books. I would just be like, you're an idiot. You did this wrong. In chapter 3, I clearly stated he turned into a tawny owl, and you have him as a barn owl.
Well, they would of course do a barn owl. That's the owl.
So I'm like, I don't even want that, because I there's still things about Lord of the Rings that set me off. I'm like, I will never watch another Peter Jackson movie ever. So
Isaac and I were talking before this, and I have to now. I'm conceding to you, not fully, but I am conceding to you on your 500-page, rule that now writing a novella, I see the appeal. The fact that I'm putting this together this well, this quickly, and can foreseeably see it published in 2 months from now. I'm instantly addicted. I want to start writing shorter books, novellas and shorter books, because it means you can hit that number 10 a little sooner. And if the quality is there and people love it, it means that this might actually become viable much sooner than writing 600-page chonkers and 2 years between publishing. That's a 20-year schedule before I can see something out of it. Forget that.
Have either of you read Fred the Vampire Accountant series?
No.
I've heard of it. Haven't read it. No.
So the guy who does that, he's a genius, because it's a novel, but it's really 3 novellas. And you come to like an end, and then it's like, and that story arc is done, and it's 3 novellas, but it's sold as a novel. I mean, they're one rate of ABC. They happen, but I'm like, dude, this is a novella. If you're just writing a novella, then you're writing another. I'm like, oh my god, this is the way to do it. You don't try to remember things for 800 pages. Tie this up in a bow, and because of that, this thing happened, and then because of that, I'm like, that is the man there. He knows what he's doing. I keep trying to tell myself I'm going to do that, and then I fail.
I think you and I have talked about mutual love for the Pendragon Cycle by Stephen R. Lawhead. Those are long books divided into 3 parts. I love that. That's what I do, and I loved that was the inspiration. I saw him, and I saw other authors do that, and I thought, oh, this is something I can do. It makes it more breathable. Chapter divisions already do that, but then now you have part divisions too. It just gives another chance for the reader to step back, digest everything they've taken in, and it gives them, like you said, 3 books in one, or 3 novellas in one. So done well, like that, that would be the goal. That was always the goal for me with my longer book, was digestible parts within a longer book to satisfy the people who do love the huge epics. But me, again, what got me addicted to fantasy in the beginning was shorter books. That was always the goal. And I think I'm clearly swinging back that way now. I'm like, oh yeah, I was right. Let's do that again.
So I'm kicking myself now, because the even books in my Pratani series are just a collection of novellas, because Grami is never going to go into a throne room. He hates people. He just wants to hang out in the forest. So either I do Greek tragedy, this amazing thing happened off stage, or else I have other people do it. So I'm kicking myself because I put them together in 2 books. I could have had 6 novellas. So instead of having 5 books here, I could have had 9 behind me, because I have the covers for all of them. But I was like, if I had to do over again, I would do that, because book 6 is going to be 3 more novellas. So it's going to be 4 novels and 9 novellas, the series. But yeah.
The flip side is there are definitely marketing challenges that come with shorter books that I think it might depend on the genre. It depends on a few different things. But I will say I found it much easier to market my chunker compared to my initial shorter books. But I think that was a matter of genre, and the story itself needed to be in a long. I don't know. It definitely depends on a lot of different factors. But, yeah, because then you see some novellas that blow up, and I'm like, well, you jerk. Okay, I'm doing one, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
But yeah,
the novellas are great for the ebook world because you don't see the big thick chunker or the little tiny thick thing, little thin thing. You see just that picture, and you see reviews. So I think the novellas are pretty great for ebook sales as opposed to the chunker, because I don't want to read a really, really long thing on my e-reader. I like reading short things on my e-reader, though.
Fair.
I'll tell you from Comic Cons, like I can sell Isaac's books, and I mean they're on the shorter end, but it doesn't matter. But Poppy Alexander, the Notcher Mountain, she went with a smaller print so she could have more pages to make it thicker. And I can't sell that thing for anything because everyone's like, that's a dinky book, that's a tiny book. And I mean, it's probably as many pages as Isaac's, but because the cover is bigger, I can sell that. Selling Not Your Mountain is such a challenge.
Huh.
So it's yeah. I
Interesting.
mean, make it a 8.5 by 5.5 or close to that, and it looks like a normal book. Because I've had people. I mean, I have Palmer Pickering's Heliotrope, and I'm like, the best value here. They're all $18. Heliotrope is 800 pages, and they're like, no, I don't want that. I mean, so the thick ones. But I'm like, well, you want a thinner one? And I always tell them, like, this one, Garden Maze, is a wicked little book. And they're like, really? I'm like, yes. Let me tell you.
That's awesome.
I cannot wait to get into Garden Maze too. Oh my goodness, it's going to be so much fun. Talking about novellas squishing together to make longer stories, the third Garden Maze has a completely new set of characters in the same world, but this one's going to take place in the oceans off the coast, and I want to do it like Jungle Book, to where there's just a bunch of fun, unique short stories all connected together, and it's all set in the ocean with these characters. And I've been collecting notes for that one for years. I cannot wait to dive into that one, literally.
Oh.
Very fun.
So how many books do you know that you're writing? I mean, how many books do you know? Okay, I'm going to write it. B, A, B, C, D. How many do you have in your head that you know right now what the order is?
13.
Okay.
Wow. For me, yeah.
I did math for how long it would take me to write, and it wasn't acceptable. So I sat down. I did some more math. How many words do I have to write every day, every week to get these out in a reasonable pace? And I came up with that number. So now, over the last few weeks, I've been trying to work up to get to that number. I haven't hit it yet, but each time I get a little closer and get a little better at getting my schedule aligned perfectly to do that. So I want to get those 13 out. I mean, there's some books that are in that 13 that I know I'm not ready to write yet. No, I'll write this one in 50. This is a year 50 Isaac book because it's an idea I love, it's characters I love, the themes and ideas in it. I know I'm not ready to tackle yet. I need to have marriage under my belt, I need to have kids under my belt, maybe even almost close to grandkids on the way to get the real emotions that I want to explore in this story. So, but then I have little silly things like Garden Maze. They're just fun and adventurous. So
I have to read Song of Bones. Apparently the sequel is going to be just devastating and terrible. And I'm kind of looking forward to it.
The first one's pretty devastating and terrible. So my brother, who is going through Harry Potter, he was saying he likes how Harry Potter gets you to read the next chapter. He said she's really good at writing cliffhangers, and she goes, "Isaac, you're really good you're actually better at writing cliffhangers." Song of Bones kept my interest the whole time. The most surprising reviews I've gotten, I've had, I think, 3 different people say this. They told me that they weren't expecting to read it. They expected to read a little bit of it and put it down. 4 people told me that once they started, they just were sucked straight through. So I take that as a very good sign. I'm trying to make sure I don't lose that in this sequel. And according to Tim McKay, I don't think I have. No. And I don't want to overthink it and just jinx myself. But yeah, the next one is very fun. Mostly everything's written. I'm just doing so much editing right now. It's like pulling teeth, but I'm getting it done.
Have either of you read Red Rising?
I actually have it downloaded on my Kindle. I'm reading it on the plane.
So I started trying to read that, and I was like, God, I hate this book. It's horrible. I know, it shocks everyone. I have had 4 people now say that Haley Traveler is like Red Rising, except the protagonist is more likable. And I'm like, I hated that book. Stop saying that. I'm like, how am I supposed to lean into it when I hate that book? So I have to give another try. I was told, the first 20% is kind of rough. Get through that, and then I'm like, okay. But
I think
and
you're
then
gonna like two recommendations I got, and one in particular you'll laugh. So I got told by a whole bunch of people I need to read Stephen Erickson's Malazan series for the
Yep.
complexity of the world and things I do that are similar. And I thought, okay. So I kind of started touching that. I think I liked what I saw so far, but we'll see. There's a lot. Like we'll see. But I just have so many books on the go right now. That's gonna have to wait. The other one though was First Law.
Well,
Yeah, which I know you despise. So it just made me laugh when
well,
someone said, check that out. Some of the fun characters, they made some comparison. I was like, okay. One of these days I have to. I have both. I have both on my Kindle waiting for me. But yeah, like I hear so many good things about Malazan, so I really want to give it a fair shot. But
so First Law, it just drives me nuts. The characters, I mean, what's his face? Logan Nine Fingers and then Glockta.
yeah.
I mean, 2 of my favorite characters, but they don't do a damn thing. There is no plot. You just, okay, we talked about 2 months what they did, story ends. And I'm like, give me a plot. It just, hand wave, something. And
We're gonna have EL up in arms here. It's great. Yeah, I mean that's what I've heard. I've heard that it's all character. Like it's a great place to go to study character work, but
Yep.
not a great place to go to study plot. And I like both. I'm not satisfied if I have only one. Just in my experience of stories, I need both. Not an overemphasis of either over the other.
Yeah. And I won't read the 3rd book because, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice. So I'm not reading books, but I've heard about how it ends. I'm like, oh, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I hate that ending. I mean, I haven't read the book, but I'm like, no, I never will. And if I see him at Worldcon, I'll tell him that if he ever puts a plot in there, I'll read it. But until he does, I'm not reading anything else by him.
Yeah.
And then I'll say, and if you don't like it, come on the show and tell me I'm stupid.
Or EL will.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to give it a fair chance, but I think based on what I've heard from you, and I do think I have similar feelings to stories like that. So yeah, I'll see how I feel after one book, but I'll try not to be fooled twice.
But I mean, Glockta, absolutely wonder. I'm like, why do I like this guy? I'm confused. It leaves you all kinds of confusion. Like I should hate him, but I don't.
I love writing repugnant characters in a way that makes you like them. That's really fun to do as an author. I don't know.
Did I succeed with Garrow then, Tim? You mentioned you like Garrow earlier.
Oh yeah, that's probably why I like him.
Okay,
I think we just found
I have a really nasty guy named Garrow in Song of Bones that Mike, I think you'll like.
Okay. So the one thing I really want to read, even though he's told me multiple times, you will hate my work, don't even bother reading it, is ZB Steel.
Okay.
The one with the fox on the cover that there's not a fox in the story.
Yeah.
That one I wouldn't, because that's short.
Inkling of Flame, right? I think it's Inkling of, yeah.
So I told him, I was like, I want to read this, and he's like, honestly, don't. You won't like it. You'll hate my stuff. You'll hate everything I write. And I'm like, well, I'm going to read it. So I already bought it because I'm very good at buying these things.
Yeah. I want to check it out too, but because without getting into specifics, I haven't read one of his actual books yet, but I've seen something of his that is to come and really enjoyed it. So he's got my attention. I just haven't taken the time to actually read. I believe, and I have Whispers already on my Kindle waiting for me. So it is coming. I think that's the one I'm going to read first. So I've heard very good things of that. That's you want to talk about someone who just blew the competition with a great launch. Like that launch went extremely well.
Yeah.
It's really cool to watch that kind of success in the community. So yeah, and he's a good one. He's one of the good ones out there, you know.
Yeah,
So
he's always a lot of fun.
yeah.
I wish I had an opinion on Sleep Token because it would infuriate somebody. But
I
I
love watching this crew. Yeah, like it's Zeebs and Tim Wolf and Molly Macabre, you know, always going back and forth about Sleep Token. I'm like, I don't know a thing about this, but I'm here for the drama.
Yep.
It's great. Yeah. So yeah, that's a good rec though. So yeah, if you're listening, everyone, you know, check out ZB Steel and definitely check out Proxima Station, which is coming out on the 25th. You know, you now have a viable alternative to Fantastic Four First Steps or whatever. So
And if Fantastic Four is good and surprised everyone, a great little chaser afterwards is probably Proxima Station, written by Mike Mollman.
I have my actually. I shouldn't be pessimistic. I want to give it a fair chance. I do intend to give Fantastic Four.
This is the great thing about internet. I don't have to. Someone else will, and then
And
they
then
can
you
tell me whether or not it's worth dipping my toes.
See, but I don't trust other people's opinions, so I have to. I have to. I'll take them with a grain of salt, and then I'll still make the same mistakes that everyone told me not to make because you know I've been led astray.
Hey,
too many times.
You know what? I'll take one for the team. I'll go see it.
Exactly.
I'll go see it now.
You know, you could probably read Proxima Station in the amount of time it would take you to watch the movie. So, you know.
Probably read
Nice.
it more than once.
I'll be that guy on his phone reading as the movie's playing.
That's great.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Yeah, perfect. The moment it tanks, you can just pull out your phone and read some Proxima Station. So I love it. Yeah, that's so no matter what, that's going to be a good day. That's what we've determined here. So
great day.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, I already have it on my. Well, I have it pre-ordered, so I
got my pre-order.
Yeah. Yeah.
So. You know, I have more pre-orders for this than the other two pre-orders I did combined, more than double.
Wow.
Nice. That's good.
Well, then it sounds good, but I had 3 for the first one and 4 for the second, so I'm up to 14 now. So good. You know, I mean, as Rose said, you're on the right trajectory.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just 10 more books to go, right?
That diagram is going up.
Yep.
Yeah. So
pre-orders are tough, though. Like I've definitely had that experience with all 3, and in particular, so Rise of Dresca pre-orders did actually pretty well, but that was like people I knew. Whereas by the time of the next book, it was really marketing to people I didn't know. And then pre-orders went down. They were still half decent, but not that good. And then fast forward 2 years, right, to releasing The Fall of Sylvandria. And people had been really responsive. ARC requests were off the charts, but pre-orders were essentially zero. And I was like, oh, well, that's really disappointing. Then actual sales were good. And then, of course, I did the relaunch with the new cover, and then it was fine. Like, you know, everything was good. But I was really actually, I don't know. I think I priced it lowish for the pre-orders. So yeah, I couldn't like that's a really hard one. You can get ARC requests, but it's often at the expense of pre-orders. I think that's the tension. But you want those reviews. So I don't think pre-orders are usually a good metric of a book's chances. Just that was my experience. Yeah.
So, I mean, my basic is, you know, give myself 3 or 4 months, and then I'll put it for free, and I'll go to Free Booksy or something, and I'll get 1,300 people to download it for free. And
there you go.
And if 1% of them leave reviews, that's 13 reviews. Okay.
That counts for a lot.
I'd kill for 13 reviews. My goodness.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if you were on the show earlier today. I was telling people I will, maybe in July, definitely in August, I will pass 3,000 books sold of mine.
That's awesome.
Which is awesome.
So
yeah.
It'll be just over 4 years, but, you know, I'm like, but I will also pass 21,000 of my books out in the wild.
I heard 18,000, and that blew my mind. But 21,000, yeah. So that makes sense. Yeah,
away.
Wow,
that's gonna last forever.
So
that's like,
I mean,
70 years from now, there's gonna be some paperback of yours that someone finds.
Well, most of the ones I gave away are ebooks, but you know.
Oh yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Yeah, there's an old Kindle somewhere that still works.
I'm doing my next freebie sale for the Epic Indie sale that's coming up next week or a week from now, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm setting the Fall of Savangia to free for that period. So that's the next time. The first time I put it up free was only 2 days, and same thing, 1,300 copies.
Yeah.
It blew my mind, and reviews came in pretty quickly. Whereas it is like pulling teeth to get reviews for your average sales. I've sold close to 500 copies of the book, and they come in. They periodically more reviews come in, but it's hard. It's hard work. Just even people will message me being like, "Oh my gosh, this was so good! I had so much fun. I love that I don't know his characters, whether they're good or bad after all, but I'm rooting for them anyway. And I love this character. I love this." They'll tell me all the things they love about it, and then I'm, a week later, review, and I'm like, "Oh, well, okay, maybe they didn't like it that much, or maybe they did and they just forgot." And then you find it, like some people just don't review. Some people will even make a quick, Instagram video, and they'll be like, "Oh, that was so awesome! I absolutely love this. Really impressed by this." And then, it goes into the abyss that is the internet's forgotten memory.
Yeah, the thing that drives me nuts is at Comic Cons. I've had a couple times now where someone's like, "You know what? I'm going to buy the audiobook," and they'll tell me this like on the Friday, and then they'll see me on Saturday. So it's like, "I bought the book. I bought the book," and I'm like, "I can see my sales. You clearly have not." But okay, thanks.
I get that on Twitter all the time, or X. People will comment and be like, I'm going to buy the book. I bought the book, and a week passes, and you're like, "Yeah, I know you did." And then they'll comment again. They'll say, "Oh yeah." I'm like, well, I know. Like, it's all good. You don't have to do that though. I don't need the ego boost. I'm good. I'm already cocky enough as it is. I really don't need that. But you don't have to lie.
Yeah, I that's the thing that bugs me is when people are like, "I will buy this on." I'm like, "You do not owe me anything. Say thank you and walk away."
Yeah,
we're all good.
Yeah. What can you do? I don't know. People are trying to be some sort of weird, polite, but yeah.
And I'm like, "Yeah, I can check and see, and I'll know you're lying to me, but okay, I'll smile and I'll say great."
Yeah.
Toxic positivity.
That's what we'll call it. Yeah. Oh man. Well, how are we feeling, guys? This was a lot of fun. No surprise there. I mean, yeah.
Oh yeah. It's always great to have Mike on.
Yeah. Sucker for punishment, like I said.
Absolutely. It's nice when I don't have to prepare and I can just be my own pretty face and
with lipstick. We were saying, you know what? The only disappointment tonight is that you didn't come on with that lipstick.
Well, last Friday I actually made mascara, so
Next time.
Never. I have a hang out with my eyes. I'm like, no, if I tried to put that on, I'd stab myself in the eye. And the girls, because most people I work with are all women. I call them girls because they're under 35. But anyway, and they're like, "You just put it there and you blink." I'm like, "No, I would stab myself in the eye. You're not." They're like, "I'll apply for it." I'm like, "You're not getting anywhere close to my eye." So no, I will never wear mascara. Never.
That's
ever.
fair. That is terrifying. That is absolutely fair. Yeah, the lipstick I feel like is doable, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh man, hopes for next time. Well, yeah, lipstick and the dread bun. That's what we're
yeah.
If I go Bob, I definitely want to do that.
Very excited for that. So yeah, you got to retire sooner just so we can see.
2 years.
Oh man. Yeah. Well, yeah. Thank you so much for coming on, Mike. And we will obviously have to do it again the next time you have anything going on.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So reach out, and thank you everyone in the chat. I love that people are like, this is somewhat later than we usually do, and people are still showing up. So that's really, really cool, everybody. Thank you for joining in the chat. And if you haven't already, go pre-order, Proxima Station. It comes out in 25 days. And buy everything else that Mike has done. You've already seen all these awesome covers. So, there's a lot out there to choose from. You've got sci-fi, you've got druids and Celtic lore and all that good stuff. You have options, and they're all good.
And if you go to my Substack, you'll have a link where you can download all the maps and all the schematics for the spaceships and all that for free. So, if you want that, just go to my Substack. And hey, while you're there, why don't you just go ahead and subscribe to my Substack?
There you go.
Yes, subscribe to him. He has a very fun Substack. He really does. I love his little updates he gives on his shows. with his Comic Cons he goes to.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Those are always fun to read.
Yeah.
So I got one of those coming, and I got one for the first half of the year, which I really, really wanted to sell 365 books in the first half of the year, but I think I'm going to be at like 352. So I can't
Pretty
complain.
close.
I mean, I do have 14 pre-orders, so if I wanted to push them into, but
Push it up a little.
I don't get them until the 25th. So, but
Okay.
yep, I'll be writing that all up now that the book is at the formatter. I have time. So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
Well, we'll make sure the link for that is below on. So anyone watching on YouTube, the link will be there. The link to follow Mike all over will obviously be there, including the Bald and Balding link as well. So go like and subscribe there. And of course, please do the same here. Thank you all for watching. Give us a like and a follow and a subscribe and all that good stuff. And yeah, thank you all for being here. We'll see you next time. Have an awesome night. And now we'll do that awesome, hilariously weird, awkward wave thing and see you next time. Cheers, folks.